Dabu 7, you were looking at an aerial view above the Palisades fire in California. This thing is absolutely out of control. Calls unknown. 0% contained. This is a mystery object that comes into the frame here. This was caught live, where this object looks like a UFO or a missile was flying into the frame. You can see it changes the trajectory. What is that? What is going on here? With all the orbs, drones, and the stuff in the sky, UAPs, UFOs, whatever you want to call them, this is very interesting because this thing's flying around through the smoke, just like a UFO would. Now, this is what it looks like around Los Angeles, apocalyptic.
Never seen anything like this. I've been here for 6 years. There's so much smoke that it is blocking the sun. You can actually see it.
We also have a major alert here, as we have a threat here for radiation to be released big time. As this raging inferno approaches the Santa Susana field lab. This is a radioactive area. Now, in the past, you can see this area is labeled as ground zero for nuclear meltdowns and toxic rocket fuel dumps. And there was a similar incident in 2018. Say that from this area the radiation level is 19x normal and just 9 miles away from the last blaze. So a heads up, anyone that's out there downwind from any of the smoke, you've got to realize this can be toxic, especially in the areas it's ripping through. And we seem to have these mystery objects floating around as well. The footage I showed you is not the only clip. I seen reports of other live streams that some objects were in the sky that we could not make out. They're like, what is that? Reminds me of Maui, and there's talk in the news. They have no idea thus far what has sparked all this. But it seems to me a lot of this is to wipe out any of these regions, to just remove everyone and everything in its path. And I find it very odd that the insurance companies as well have been canceling insurance for people right before this fire. Some of the craziest footage I've seen yet. You gonna be okay? Hi? You gonna be okay? No word if they made it out. Don't worry about that, man. Okay, this is an attack. Prayers going out to everyone out there that needs them in this devastating moment.
The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by this podcast, as well as its hosts, are for entertainment purposes only. I repeat, it is not serious. It is not real. No one is exposing,
All right, Shalom to elect Israel, to the hopeful elect Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negro, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, foreigners, us elected the nation, scattered across the four corners of the earth. Want to give all praise to Barak, Yahawashi. Got to give all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash, the name of the Heavenly Father. Everybody ignorantly calls God his true name in the ancient Hebrew, which is Rawchaa, Qadash. His true name is Yahawah. Bahasham means in the name of. Yahawashi is the Holy One of Israel. Everybody ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, so-called Negro from the tribe of Judah, who was slain at the foundation of the earth for the salvation of the elect of Israel. Then you got 2/3 of the wicked Israelites here in America, Babylon the Great, and the other wicked Israelites scattered across the four corners of the earth. Will come back to the loins of the elect after the destruction. The Qadash is the Holy Spirit that's been bestowed upon the men. The Heavenly Father gave his only begotten Son out of the world to complete this work. So we always want to give double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, led us all to this truth, and ordained by the Lord to teach the flock how to live, repent, pray, fast, show forth the Lord's righteousness and mercy, judgment, wrath, mercy, judgment, forgiveness, and wrath to all those who are part of the elect and the hopeful elect. Lord, when we part of that number, Lord, when this be edifying those who fear in the name of the Lord, striving to show forth the Lord's righteousness every day to the best of their abilities. His judgment always comes to light. Zephaniah 3:5, it is not slack. 2 Peter 3:9, until it brings 2 chapter 5, verse 42. Shalom, all you sincere believers out there tuning in here and on after Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash, Barak, Atham. And we're just going to get into a quick lesson, going into a few topics. The title is More Fire Will Be Sent Out Until the foundations of this age is destroyed. And that's what we're seeing going on right now throughout the four corners of the earth. Particularly in LA right now, a lot of stuff is on fire, man. And that's the Lord sending out vengeance, on the ideology of this place. So, but before we go into that, one of the elders in New York, he was going into, something dealing with Esau's weaponry. And I want to kind of deal with that first. And, as we, count down these days before Jacob's trouble, all of us as believers, we do our best to, stay in that good grace of Yahawah, Yahawashi, through all the trials, exhortations, because really, the exhortations really is that it's something to really strengthen Jake. But when you first go through that, when you first get that, it's grievous. We've all experienced that. And at the end of the day, it's really to help Jake, prepare himself, because, Esau's going to do a lot of slandering, man. And we got to make sure that, we really got each other's backs, because he's going to come and use a lot more weapons than this. The one I'm about to, the beloved brother, the beloved elder is going to show at a New York branch, just going into that, so Lord, when this edifying to the flock, we're just going to start right here, going to put in a few precepts, and we're going to move on.
Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand.
Let's bring the hammer down.
See, it say 144 on it. See? So this is like weapons, type of weapons that Esau has, man. And he might not talk about them, but, he's doing this to try to go against the elect. None of that stuff is gonna work.
Hit him again. $400 million. The world's most expensive nose.
Shalom.
See, and that's how it's gonna be, you know. But the elect are gonna be impenetrable, man. You know, they ain't gonna be able to do nothing. You know, they're gonna be through. But that's the kind of weapons that Esau has, you know what I'm saying? And we're gonna need spiritual powers for that. And you know, you got, you know, certain people who claim they believe in the Lord, but you know, and they believe that we're gonna get spiritual powers, but at the same time, you know, Jake has a problem with other parts of the doctrine, and that's what's gonna get Jake destroyed out here. You know, like, you know, the majority of Jakes can't wrap reincarnation around, their philosophy and what they teach. And really, when it comes down to it, that's the only reason why that the 144,000 elect are going to receive the kingdom, because they have earned it. It wasn't just like they were just giving it to them, you know, for whatever. Like, they served the Lord to death a lot of times. That's what's going to allow them to obtain these powers, man. And of course, you know, what I mean by earned it is through faith. You know, it was nothing that we could have did, but, you know, having faith through death, the times that we have died, that is the reason why the Lord is allowing us to obtain our power back, you know. And through that power, you know, to obtain that power, there has to be a period of, you know, of that humility before honor, you know, that has to be obtained first. And that's what happened with these men. You know, we know that they were humiliated. Okay. So you got to go through that first before you can, you know, get to the part where you actually, you know, are be able to, you know, be glorified with Yahawah, Yahawashi. So that's why, like, you know, it says in the scriptures, you know, when you do go through something, take it cheerfully, because that is part of the process of us making it to that level. So this is Isaiah chapter 47, verse 8. Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, right? Talking about Esau, Edom, so-called white man, that says in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. And this is ultimately going into Babylon the Great. And when it talks about your heart, it means your mind. When we talk about Babylon the Great, we're talking about America. You know, this place thinks that it's not going to be destroyed, you know. Verse 9, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, and one day, the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, for the great abundance of thine enchantments. And these are the things that are their sorceries and their enchantments, these types of weapons that they, you know, they're not showing to the majority, you know, of the earth, that they're saving for these men. And at that, you know, at that time, they do have these things, but they can't manipulate the weather to the point to where they can't stop certain tragedies from happening, you know, which is like this fire we finna go into. And that's what the Lord's doing with us. He's putting a fire in us, because in this place, you know, Jake has been into a point to where, you know, he has to get, you know, a fire lit in him. You know, we got to get in that spirit of, you know, like being courageous in the spirit, you know, and that the best way to do that, you know, is to obviously, you know, continue in the faith. And that's one thing about Jake. Jake falls, you know, we fall, but Jake will always get back up again. You know, the real Jakes will always get back up and fight, you know, for that faith. But there is spiritual highs and lows in this thing. And one of the main things is, you know, it does look like it's a helpless situation right now for Israel, you know, but it's not. The Lord's going to turn that around, and we will make it out of here. Rawchaa, we are that number, you know, the elect, you know, because we understand what it's saying. Verse 10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me, right? And that's why the Lord also, you know, mentioned, you know, don't be overwise, because that's what they tried to do, and it perverted them. It perverted their judgment. They didn't understand, you know, correction. You know, they didn't understand, you know, order. So that's why they're like that, you know, because they have a lot of wisdom and knowledge. And that's why in this truth, you know, you want to digest this truth in the sense of, you don't want to learn too fast, and you don't want to learn too slow. You know, take your time, but not take your time. That's being balanced. You know, have a time where you do go in and you learn, but, you know, give yourself some time to digest that so you can actually apply it in the things, in the situations that you're going through. Because if you know the scriptures, that's one thing, but to be able to apply them is different, you know. And we all got to work on that, you know, myself first and foremost. You know, there's many things that, you know, I seen a video that I posted on my community board with a brother talking about, you know, when you do have negative thoughts, and that's what Esau Edom does too. He'll try to put negative thoughts around you and stuff and make you feel like, you know, you're not capable of overcoming your situation. But he does that because you can. And it's a good thing to be, especially when you show that, you know, you think more about the people that you're dealing with, the brothers around you, more than yourself. That's when the Lord will really give you strength to overcome your own battles. You know, that's where we get our strength from, you know, in servitude and service, you know, and that's what's gonna, you know, give us that that connection to us knowing the scriptures, you know. So this is why we don't want to be like Esau, even the so-called white one. We don't want to have so much knowledge to where, you know, we can't actually apply it to these simply complex situations that we go through, because they are complex, you know, because, you know, Jake hasn't been taught, you know, for a long time. We've been in the dark. So we all got our stuff to work on. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge that have perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Right? Verse 11, therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off. And that's the blessing that, you know, that we have in this truth. Like, there's going to be mischief that falls upon us. There's going to be trials that fall upon us. Times where you're feeling low, but we're going to be able to put it off through the spirit and power of Yahawashi. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. And that's the thing. Esau, Edom, and these other nations really don't know this is about to go down. But we have that unction, that unction from the Holy Spirit to know that this is going to go down. That's how we know that he's preparing to pull it off of us. Because if he did want us to make it out of it, we wouldn't know. know, verse 12. Since they doing all that, said, stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so, be thou shalt be able to profit. If so, be thou mayest prevail. And that's what they're going to try to do. You know, they're going to try to prevail with this thing. And at the same time, you got them praying to their gods, hoping that this sorcery will prevail. That's what the Lord's telling them. They're saying, stand with all your enchantments, and they're hoping for a miracle, but they don't even know the destruction's coming. It says Philippine Catholic devotees, Mass and Melina, hoping for a miracle. See, they're hoping for some type of sign that's going to bring them out of this trouble, you know. And it's not like they know how drastic it's going to be, because a lot of them don't really listen to the prophets, and the Lord's got them like that for a reason, because he doesn't want to see it coming. He said he saw Edom wasn't gonna see it coming. That's how the majority of the people are. They're not gonna really see it coming, even though they hear us telling them the story. They can't understand it. It's Isaiah chapter 19, verse 3, and it reads, "And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof," and that's going into America, Babylon the Great. This place is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, as it says in Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. It's going to fail, you know, and that's why the Lord said, "Go ahead, see if you can figure it out. See if you can. It's going to pay off, and it's not going to pay off. And I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to hide and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards." And that's what they're doing right now. You know, they doing that, and they also making these weapons to prepare to fight these men. And while that's going on, you got the chariots, because that video that I showed at the beginning, my elder posted that. You know, that's one of the recent small videos he did going into these fires. And there was chariots out there. And a lot of these people who are trying to stand with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, and his establishments, they're starting to see that, you know, it's all for nothing, because it's ending up in ashes. It says California wildfires rage in LA County, killing at least 10 and destroying thousands of homes. Okay. We're gonna go right. Slacky. We're gonna go right here and show you that, you know, they always have this mindset of like thinking like celebrities don't really be in a lot of shit. But the Lord is changing that, man. He's bringing judgment upon, you know, these wicked people who have sold out to this place. These celebrities lost their homes in the Los Angeles fire. Anthony Hopkins, well, these are just like over time, I think. But Anthony Hopkins, Anna Faris, some of them probably this time. Adam Brody and Leighton Meester, Billy Crystal, Cameron Matheson, Denise Crosby, you know, John Goodman, Mandy Moore. A lot of them are suffering just like regular people. You know, Paris Hilton, you know. So, you know, and obviously a lot of them, they got multiple homes, so, you know, whatever. But it's showing that, you know, there's no real protection for anybody. The only people who are going to really make it out is the elect. And it's showing that nothing's certain. So even if you do come up with a lot of money and or whatever and a lot of provisions, the Lord can burn it all to ground in a day. You know? So that's why we have to be grateful that the Lord, instead of having us gain these riches, He's got us at a lower state. And some brothers is lower state spiritually. Some brothers are lower state physically, or it's both. You know, but all of them are designed by Yahawashi to protect you, really, from yourself. Because if we get too much stuff here, we're going to be like Esau, Edom. We're going to be like, yeah, I got this. And the Lord doesn't want us in that spirit to feel like we got it. You don't want to be in that spirit where you feel like you can just do it on your own and you don't need it. Nobody's help, man. You know, because you're going to want help from your brothers around you in that day. You're not going to want to be in that spirit of being like, oh, I got it. You know, you're going to want to work as a unit. That's what the camps are designed to do, to bring us together as a unit on one accord. And that is what's going to keep us from getting caught up, you know. So Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 20, let's do 19. And it reads, for in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel, which is, you know, actually over there in the land. Missiles is going to hit that place. Missiles is going to hit in America, Babylon the Great as well. Verse 20, so that the fishes of the sea and the fowls of the heaven and the beasts of the field and all the creeping things that creep upon the earth and all the men that are upon the face of the earth shall shake at my presence from the missiles. And the mountains shall be thrown down, talking about the nations. And the steep places shall fall, and every wall shall fall to the ground. And we're seeing portions of that right now. Verse 21, and I will call for a sword against him throughout all my mountains, saith the Lord Yahawah. Every man's sword shall be against his brother. You know. Verse 22, and I will plead against him with pestilence and with blood, and will rain upon him and upon his bands and upon the many people that are with him, an overflowing rain and great hailstones, fire and brimstone. And I talked about that in Revelation as well. Talking about them missiles. You know. That's what the Lord's coming with. And it said, who's going to be able to stand? It's taught only ones that's going to be able to stand is the elect. Because they're the only ones that are going to be removed from it. They're the only one who's going to be in. Really, what I really want to paraphrase is, you know, the elect has to be removed because nobody not going to be able to overcome that day. That's why you got people going into the bunkers and whatnot. You know, but you know, it's when you look around the four corners of the earth and you see these core brothers, these camps with the core brothers, that's really where, you know, the most faith is, you know, and we're blessed to have that as you know, believers in this truth, that we've had brothers devote their entire lives to the brotherhood, you know, and it shows, you know. That's how, you know, Masaquan, my elder, you know, you can tell, like, his spirit, he gave up his whole life for this, you know, and that's what our leaders are. They put everything else that they had going on aside and, you know, put themselves around, you know, like-minded brothers 24/7, because it's a different feeling, you know, because Jake, you know, most, you know, you go to camp and then you come home, you know, and you got a week to kind of get your stuff together or whatever and collect yourself. It's way different when you're actually living in with the brothers and with the elders. It's way different, you know, because then you don't got no time to just be like getting yourself, or you got to get yourself right immediately. And that's the spirit that the Lord wants us in. You know, it said in Ezekiel, the 11th chapter, it said, you know, the Lord was of quick understanding. He didn't be like, all right, I'll see y'all next weekend and work on it there. And that's why, and not saying that brothers, it's not bad for a brother to live alone, but you want to keep that mindset of like, if the brothers was right with you every day, you know, because Satan is out there, man. He got all types of weapons. He got type of weapons that can get in your mind and do shit and try to get your ass, you know, falling out of the truth. It's less likely if you're around brothers more. Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 5. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahawah, surely in the fire of my jealousy I have spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea. That's talking about Esau, Edom, so-called white man, and all the other heathens that, you know, the other nations. which have appointed my land to their possession with the joy of all their heart, which is their minds, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. And that's why the Lord's going to burn that place to the ground, and he's going to burn America, Babylon the Great. But Israel will be rebuilt. This place will be destroyed forever. And I liked what in GMS and Truth Orlando, he had a spiritual rant 37. He was going into, somebody came to the camp and was trying to ask him particular things. And he was like, look, if it ain't got nothing to do with this prophecy and salvation, I don't know. And that's the mindset we got to have. Yeah, if it ain't got nothing to do with this, we don't know. We don't know what to tell you. All we know is that this is what's going to go down. Verse 6, prophesy before, therefore, concerning the land of Israel, and say unto the mountains, and to the hills, and to the rivers, and to the valleys, thus saith the Lord Yahawashi, behold, I have spoken in my jealousy and in my fury, because ye have borne the shame of the heathen. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahawashi, I have lifted up mine hand. Surely the heathen that are about you shall bear their shame. And that's what's happening. So, even if you are, a Jake, and you feel low at times, and the world's eating at you, and you're suffering, and you got all these payments that you're subject to, but they're not giving you a good enough job to handle it, or maybe you got certain people you got to deal with, but you don't want to deal with. This is the time where a lot of them, they're not acting like it, like when you see them, but they're bearing their shame right now, because you got all the high people in high offices and high seats are doing what? They're talking about, Yahawashi was a so-called Negro. So a lot of them are bearing their shame because, they're knowing that now their whole life was a lie. So going over here, it says in investments, banks' latest reports suggest AI technology will mirror the rapid adoption seen with previous tech innovations. So it's really going into this job wipeout. AI is going to take out 300 million jobs. And they just going into that, So, and since 2021, they used about $94 billion to get all these robots out here, and that's going to be a part of Esau's weapons too. He's going to send types of stuff like that. That's why it's best not to have a weapon, Jake. Your weapon is to be these scriptures, and of course, it ain't wicked for Jake to have a gun, but just keep in mind in your spirit that in that day it's gonna be best if we don't have one. Like I said, be humble as doves. But every Jake has his office the Lord put him into for him to do, whatever it is to make sure the brothers are safe around and whatnot. Not saying that brothers is just locked and loaded in this thing. Okay, we trust in the Lord that He's going to save us, and no weapon shall prosper, because we have the ultimate weapon, and that is these scriptures. So you might do some Jakes that do have that kind of stuff, but in that day, we know that all that stuff we're gonna leave behind, because we got this. This is the most powerful weapon. So it's a good thing that the Lord just has a diversity of brothers that are trying to get right with the Lord, man. Because it teaches, as you watch other brothers and how they do things, it teaches you how to kind of prepare yourself how to deal with brothers, because that's a big part of them bearing their shame as well too, as them seeing how we working together. Because they usually see Jake, can't get along. So that's another part of the reason why when you go out, you see them kind of bearing their shame, because they was wrong about us, man. They thought that we were just savages and you know, didn't have no knowledge. That's why they just trying to get rid of us all together with this AI. So we're going to pull this up once again, Isaiah 19:15. You know, we go into this all the time. It's coming. So we got to prepare ourselves to really be, you know, coming closer together, because it's gonna work out a lot more if you know around brothers more, because then, you know, if something does happen, you know, two minds is better than one. 3 minds is hardly broken, you know, and so on. Isaiah 19:15, neither shall there be any word for Egypt, which the head, tail, branch, or rush may do. That's part of it. Them AI robots coming in, you know, and this is the main focus. This incoming, man, you know. So, you know, just a little quick lesson. Lord one is edifying to the flock. Peace, blessed to the elect. Kwame Shalom.